Back. I wanted to talk today about what happened yesterday at the Supreme Court because it's interesting and it's important to define what happened. This is going to be a really quick video, and just real quickly, just give you the facts of what happened. So let me explain exactly what the Supreme Court asked to consider yesterday. This case was not about medical treatments. It wasn't about banning the puberty blockers or hormones like we've been talking about. And it's not about the federal funding proposals. And we're still waiting to hear more on things like RFK Jr.'s plan on cutting funding for hospitals and things like that. It wasn't about any of that. Yesterday was strictly about Title IX. If you don't know what Title IX is a federal civil rights law prohibiting sex-based discrimination in any education program or activity receiving federal funding. And it was created in the early 70s, and it was really created to protect girls and girls' sports and things like that. So not everything was for boys, stuff like that. And it actually created spaces for girls that they could do their own thing. So specifically yesterday, it was about whether states can limit girls' sports to biological females, or whether schools must allow biological males who identify as girls to compete in girls' athletics. The court was looking at two state-level cases that had been challenged and appealed up to the system. One came out of West Virginia, where the state passed a law saying that girls' sports teams are for girls, meaning biological females. The other came out of Idaho, which passed a similar law aimed at preserving sex-based categories in athletics. In both cases, the argument from the states was straightforward. Title IX was created to protect girls' opportunities, not to erase sex-based distinctions, and not to require schools to ignore biological differences in competitive sports. On the other side, groups like the ACLU, who argued the case yesterday, they're looking to exclude biological males from girls' sports, constitutes sex discrimination under Title IX. So they're saying that excluding trans girls is sex discrimination, and that's the whole case. What this real question of the court is weighing is, and what this whole case comes down to is, does Title IX require schools to treat gender identity as equivalent to biological sex? I mean, that's really the whole thing. Even in contexts like athletics, where physical differences matter. I mean, that's it. That's the whole case. Does biological sex matter, or does gender identity matter? Which is going to win here? Now, during the arguments, groups like the ACLU told the justices that this is settled science. That claim matters because it's being used to shut down debate. There is no settled scientific consensus that male puberty can be fully negated for competitive sports. There's no conclusive evidence that suppressing hormones fully erases strength, speed, or endurance advantages. There is nothing settled in this space, and calling it settled science does not make it so. It's a legal tactic only. We've talked about that here on this channel before, that there is nothing medically settled in this entire space. And this is why the case matters beyond just athletics. The court is not being asked whether inclusion is a good value. It's being asked whether a law written to protect girls can be reinterpreted to erase sex-based categories entirely. In other words, are we simply to get rid of the whole reason Title IX was written for girls? Are we to say there's no meaningful difference between boys and girls? Are we to pretend that sex no longer matters at all in school or in society? That appears to be where modern gender ideology is trying to take us. That's the whole thing, folks. Thank you for watching. I would appreciate if you would like and subscribe this video, and we're going to keep coming on this issue and several others. Thank you very much.